Okay. I'm so excited to speak with you guys today. I was in your guys' seats like 5 years ago, which is scary to think about. But now I'm in front. It's going to be so much fun. And what I'm speaking to you guys about today is something that Stephen actually brought to me. He was like, hey, I think you should really speak on this. And I agreed because it's something that, has been very, very prevalent in my own testimony, in my own walk with the Lord. But tonight's not about me. It's not about what I've been through. It's about what the Lord wants you guys to feel tonight, what he wants you guys to know. And as I was praying, I was like, okay, Lord, what is this sermon? Can someone close that blind? Is that a crazy request? That one right there, it doesn't close? Okay, I'll just be blind whenever I look this way. That's okay. When I was praying, and I was like, Lord, what do you want these kids to learn? What do you want them to get from this? He told me, he said, I want them to fall in love with me. I want them to fall in love with me. And I was like, it's this one, Lizzie? Yeah, that one. He said, I want them to fall in love with me. I was like, oh, that's good. I want them to fall in love with you too. And before I get started, I want you to know I'm a high school English teacher. So it is literally, I get paid to stand in front of you guys and teach you guys. I'm English. So just know I got classroom management down to, I got it. So if I see anyone talking or on their phones, I'll give you a lunch detention or something, okay? So pay attention because we're going to lock in. We're going to fall in love with the Lord tonight. That's my prayer for you, okay? Before we get into anything, I want to read the word of the Lord, because that's what's most important, not what I have to say, what he has to say. So, if everyone wants to open up to Luke 10, 38 through 42. 38 through 42. While you're opening up to it, I want to tell you the title of my sermon. It's called Striving, First Love. Striving, first love. Okay? So we're going to read Luke 10. I'm going to read it because I'm going to read it from NLT because there's a couple words in there that they use that I really like. Okay, so here's how it goes. As Jesus and the disciples continued on their way to Jerusalem, they came to a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. Her sister Mary sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what he taught. But Martha was distracted by the big dinner she was preparing. She came to Jesus and said, Lord, doesn't it seem unfair to you that my sister just sits there while I do all the work? Tell her to come and help me. But the Lord said to her, my dear Martha, you are worried and upset over all these details. There's only one thing worth being concerned about. Mary has discovered it, and it will not be taken away from her. Let's pray. Lord, I thank you so much for this room, for the way that we're able to come together as a community, dive into your presence, dive into your word. And I just pray right now against any distractions. I just pray that everybody's heart would be good soil, that this word would fall in good soil. I pray that you would direct my words, Lord, that everything that comes out of my mouth would filter through your spirit and would filter through what you're wanting to tell these kids, Lord God. And I just pray right now that overall that they would just fall in love with you tonight. They wouldn't fall in love with things. They wouldn't fall in love with ministry. They wouldn't fall in love with works, but that they would fall in love with you first before anything. And I just pray all this in your name. Amen. Okay. Striving. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, I want to talk about how important it is to fall in love with the Lord before anything else, okay? You guys are young, and some of you, maybe you've been in church for a really long time. Some of you, maybe this is your first night at church. But regardless, you are starting a beautiful journey. You're at the beginning of a journey of a lifetime, okay? You're at the beginning of your walk with the Lord, okay? And I was in your guys' seat not that long ago, and I want to emphasize to you that the Lord, he's building a history with you right now, okay? You'll look back on these times in youth group, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, the Lord did so much in that time, and it'll give you faith to continue going, okay? But one mistake I made when I was in your seat, when I was in college, was I was a part of youth group. I did the worship team. When I went to college, I was part of a ministry. I was the leader of the ministry. I was leading services left and right. and I realized that I made a mistake, and I did not fall in love with the Lord, but rather I fell in love with the work I did for him. Okay? I did not fall in love with the Lord in this season of youth group and college, but I fell in love with what I could present to him. I said, oh my gosh, Lord, oh my gosh, I just led this service, oh my gosh, okay? And I was so excited to show him, and he'd be like, oh, thanks. That's not what I want, though, okay? So we're going to talk about that, okay? So I'm going to read the story again, and we're going to talk about it through a lens of striving and the importance of falling in love with the Lord before you fall in love with what you do for him. And I know I can talk kind of fast, so if you guys are like, you're so fast, just give me a little signal and I'll slow down. All right, does someone want to read the story for me? Luke 10, 38 through 42. Do I have a volunteer? You guys are extra shy tonight. Anthony.
What is it?
Luke 10, 38 through 42.
Luke.
It's at the very end of the
10 and 38 through 42. Okay, 38 through 42.
All right. Read it with your chest.
Okay. As Jesus and the disciples continued on their way to Jerusalem, they came to a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. Her sister Mary sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what he taught, but Martha was distracted by the big dinner she was preparing. She came to Jesus and said, "Lord, doesn't it seem unfair to you that my sister just sits here while I do all the work? Tell her to come and help me." But the Lord said to her, "My dear Martha, you are worried and upset over all these details. There is only one thing worth being concerned about. Mary has discovered it, and it will not be taken away from her."
Okay, I want to start at the beginning of the story, and then we're going to follow like the two paths that the story leads us on, okay? So, at the beginning of the story, what does it say? It says, Martha welcomed him into her home. So Jesus is on his way, and Martha has welcomed him into her home, okay? So let's focus on Martha. Martha has welcomed him into her home. So she has a willing heart. She is excited to see him. She says, oh my gosh, it's Jesus. I've been wanting to feel his presence for as long as I can remember. Let's invite him into my home, and let's feel his presence, okay? And I feel like as a youth group, we're kind of in this space where we've been so hungry for his presence. We're like, we want Jesus. We've been inviting him in. We've said, come, come, come. And now he's come in, and now we're kind of like, oh, okay. What do we do now? What do we do with his presence, right? When we fall in love with his presence, when we want to be near him, when we want to be close with him, and we finally get this feeling of, oh, Jesus, he's in our house. We've invited him in, and he's here. The result can manifest itself in two different ways. You can be a Martha or you can be a Mary. Okay, so first let's talk about Martha, okay? What was the first thing Martha started doing when Jesus came into the house? What does it say? She what? She went and said hi to him? No, what did she do? She was distracted. Jesus came into her house, and she said, oh my gosh, I need to prepare dinner for him. I need to make sure the disciples are acting okay. I need to make sure my kids aren't acting out in front of him. I need to make sure everything's good, because if things aren't good and Jesus is here, he might want to leave. If Jesus comes in and he finds that everything's a mess, he's not going to want to stay. He's going to want to leave. He's not going to want to stay. He's going to leave, and it's going to be horrible, okay? So she went right to work trying to impress Jesus. And what does it say she was? Anthony, what did it say? Distracted, okay? If you feel the Lord's presence, if Jesus is invited in your life, and the first thing you do is try to impress him, you will become distracted. You will become distracted. Okay? Martha has spent all this time wanting the presence of the Lord, and she finally feels it, and she says, Lord, I want to prepare a table for you. I want to bring you in. I want to prepare a beautiful feast for you. I want you to sit down, and you're going to eat with me, okay? And the Lord's sitting there, and he goes, you're preparing a table for me over there, but I'm over here, and I've already prepared a table for you. And you're distracted from the fact that I've already prepared something for you because you're trying to impress me with striving for something else, okay? He has prepared a table for us. And Martha has become distracted with what she was preparing. And she looks over and she sees Mary sitting at his feet. And she says, that is so unfair. Doesn't it seem unfair to you that my sister just sits there while I do all the work? Okay? So picture it. Martha's preparing a table for the Lord, and she wants him to sit at it. She's like, I invited you into my home, and now I'm preparing a table for you. I have done all these things for you. I have strived. I've cooked a meal. I've made sure it's clean. And Lord, you're not sitting at my table. And Martha has done nothing. She is not prepared. She's not helping me at all. And you're giving her attention? Doesn't that seem unfair? Tell her to get up. Tell her to help me. Tell her to come here and help me prepare this table that I'm trying to make for you. And the Lord's on the other side. And like I said, he's sitting here and he's saying, Mary, you're saying it seems unfair, but I've already prepared a table for you. I have a table right here, but you're too distracted by striving and doing all of these things that you've totally neglected to even look at me and to see where I am. Okay? Listen to me when I say, you being on the worship team, you going to church every Sunday, you leading a Jesus club, you whatever, you cannot, whatever you do does not equal a relationship with the Lord. It does not equal sitting at his feet. It is striving. If you're sitting there and you're saying, Lord, I started leading this Jesus club, and I'm on the worship team, and I come to church, and I went to Uproar, and I cast out a demon, and I'm giving you these things, and you don't even want them, and now when your presence is in the room, I don't feel like I feel it. It's because you're over here trying to show him, look, I did all these things for you. Why aren't you here? And he's over here saying, I never asked for those things. I never asked for those things. I asked for you to sit at my feet. So we're over here, and we're distracted. We're like, oh my gosh. And we get frustrated. We feel like it's unfair. We get frustrated when we see other people and we're like, they feel your presence? You kidding me? They were with their boyfriend last night doing God knows what, and they're crying in your presence and I'm not. We look at other people and we're like, this is so unfair. There has been so many times in my life, guys, where I've been striving and doing so many things for the Lord. And I'm like, Lord, you're not answering any of my prayers. You're not sitting at my table. I don't feel your presence. I'm annoyed. I don't know where you are. And I look over and I see someone, and they have literally every single thing I've prayed for on my list they have. And I'm like, well, who are they to deserve that? They don't go to church. They don't pray to the Lord. They don't trust in him, and they have all of that. Lord, how unfair is that? That I've led ministries and I've led people to the Lord, and you're not giving me those things? How unfair is that? So when we're Martha and we're striving and we're feeling like we're doing all these things for the Lord and he's not reciprocating it, it leads to lots of different things, okay? It leads to judgment on others. It leads to feeling like it's unfair. It's even eventually, guys, I've been here, it leads to a moment of, Lord, are you even real? All these things you've promised me, all these things that I'm supposed to feel, I don't feel them. Are you even there? Are you even watching? You get frustrated because you're like, I'm doing all of these things for you. And you become like Abel. Which one's the one that killed the brother? Cain. You become like Cain because you've given him your sacrifice. And you're like, Lord, I give you my sacrifice. And the Lord's like, thanks, but I don't want that. And you're like, oh, you didn't want what I gave you? Well, I'm going to go kill the person that gave you what you wanted. Right? You become bitter. Okay? We get frustrated with him. We tell the people, come help me find the presence of the Lord. And they're over here like, I don't know about you, but I found it where I'm at. I don't need to go over there. And then we're like, how dare they do that, you know? We get frustrated. This is where striving leads you, okay? Your eyes are on what is not being fulfilled, what blessings you're not getting. You start to feel inadequate. You question your faith. You question Jesus and his intentions because when his presence filled the room, you never took the chance to ask him, Lord, who are you? I want to get to know you. I want to fall in love with you. You didn't take the time to do that. You just immediately went to, I need to make sure everything is clean for him. I need to make sure he wants to sit at my table. I need to make sure that I'm doing X, Y, Z, so he wants to meet with me. And then when he doesn't, you're like, what the heck? And it's because you haven't even looked at him. Okay? So you can be a Martha. You can strive and strive and strive and prepare a table for him and ask him why he's not coming and be frustrated and end up questioning your faith and all of these things because Your relationship with the Lord's foundation was works. Your relationship with the Lord's foundation was, I do this for you, Lord, therefore you do this for me. Okay? We could be a Martha, or we could be a Mary. Okay? It says that Mary sat at his feet and listened to what he taught. So as soon as Jesus fills the room, she doesn't go preparing a table for him like, Lord, I've done all these things for you. She goes and she sits at his feet. She sits at the table that he has prepared for her. She doesn't strive. She doesn't work to get his attention. She sits at his feet, okay? There is something to be said that faith without works is dead. We've heard that a lot in Romans and all that, right? But if you don't even have faith, then it's all dead, okay? So if you have work, but you don't even know who Jesus is, you haven't even taken the time to get to know him, it's all dead, okay? What does the Lord say? He says, Martha, you are worried and upset about many details, but there's only one thing worth being concerned about. What do you guys think that is? What do you guys think that is? I'm going to ask again. What do you think is worth being concerned about, Sophia? What do you guys think is worth being concerned about? The Lord died on the cross for you. What do you think is worth being concerned about? The Lord. I swear, if I see one more person not say the Lord, he died on that cross for you. What is worth being concerned about? The Lord, okay? If we are not concerned, oh my gosh, guys, listen to me when I say this, because I'm telling you, I spent years of my life, thinking I knew the Lord, and I literally did not know him at all. I thought standing in front of people preaching was knowing the Lord. I thought leading worship was knowing the Lord. I thought being president of a ministry on my college campus was knowing the Lord. I knew nothing about him because I was not concerned about him. Because I didn't even take a second to sit at his feet and say, Lord, who are you? Who is this man who has died on the cross for my sins? Who is this man who created the universe? That sunset out there, he created that. The world, he created that. The stars, he created that. Who is this man? Who is this man? I never thought to ask. I never thought to even be concerned about him. Okay? But there is only one thing worth being concerned about. And what does Jesus say about it? He says, Mary has discovered it, and it will not be taken away from her. Guys, your Jesus Club's youth group, you will not be in youth group forever. In fact, a lot of you won't even be in youth group this time next year because you graduate and you move on to better things. So if you think, I have a relationship with the Lord, I go to youth group. I go to prayer. I go to church on Sunday. I go to internship. What's going to happen when you graduate high school and you go to college and all your friends are telling you to drink and you don't have a youth group to run to? What's going to happen when you don't have a ministry to serve in, and so now you didn't have a quiet time when you did serve in a ministry, so now you don't speak with the Lord for months on end? It's because you were never concerned about him. You were never concerned about him. You were concerned about what you did for him. You were concerned about maybe what you felt like you needed to do for him, but you weren't concerned or even thinking about the man who died on the cross for you, okay? So we need to become like Mary's, okay? If we are not first concerned with the Lord and listening to him and falling in love with him, it says we become worried and upset. That's what happens to Martha. She's sitting at this table. She's done all these things for the Lord. She's wondering, Lord, why aren't you sitting at my table? I don't get it. And she becomes worried. She becomes upset. She's like, so upset. The Lord isn't here. My sister isn't helping me. Yada, yada, yada. She becomes worried. And all of the things, the dinner she prepared for him, when he leaves, those things will be taken away. And she will not have even looked at the face of the man she wanted to see. So if you come to youth group or conventions or whatever, and you say, okay, Lord, I want to see your face because I'm working for you in this youth group setting, and that to me is equivalent to sitting at your feet, when you don't have the opportunity to do that anymore, you'll find that you never look at his face again, and you don't even know what it looks like because you didn't even look at it when you were doing it. Okay? The works you think you have accomplished for the Lord will be taken away, but he will never be. He will never be taken away. Okay? The things we do for the Lord, they're beautiful, right? Like the way we worship, like hear me when I say, those things are beautiful. He loves when we serve him. Like those things are great. It's the way we worship him that's great. But if it is not coming from a heart of, I've seen him and I know him and I love him, therefore I do these things for him, you will burn out so quickly. That's what happened to me. I was in college. I was a full-time student. I was trying to figure out life as a 19, 20-year-old, okay? Crazy time in your life, just know, okay? If you think high school is crazy, wait till you graduate and you're dropped in a place where you don't know anybody, okay? It gets crazier. So you're going to need the Lord. So I'm dropped in this place where I don't know anybody. I have now, been swarmed into this ministry, and I'm doing for the Lord, and I realize I literally don't even know him, and I'm realizing, why am I even doing what I'm doing? Who is this for? I don't even know the man who this is for. Why am I doing this? And you become burnt out, and you build resentment like Martha did. You say, why is the church making me do this? Why is Pastor Stephen making me come at 7 o'clock at night after my practice to practice whatever instrument? You build resentment, you start to burn out because you have no love in it. You don't love the man you're doing it for, therefore you don't want to do it. Okay? But if you love him, those things will never be taken away from you. Jesus can never be taken from you. He can never be taken from you. He cannot be taken from you. Okay? Everything else in this world, your money, your job, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your house, your family, your car, your iPad, your phone, your journal, your pen, your couch, this building can be taken away from us in an instant. If everything was taken away from you, would you have anything left? Would you have anything left? You should, because you should have the Lord. You should say, I love the Lord, therefore I have everything I need. Okay, because he can never be taken from you. Okay? So what does this have to do with falling in love with the Lord and striving? Okay? Like I said, the Lord spoke so clearly to me that he wants you guys to fall in love with him. Okay? If there isn't a super upbeat, hype song playing during worship, does that affect the way you worship him? Okay? If they're playing a song you don't know, does that affect the way you worship him? Okay? If you're willing to give up the things that feel really comfortable to give up, but when he asks you to give up the things that hurt a little bit, do you love him enough to give the things that hurt a little bit? Okay? Fall in love with him. Okay? He is not asking for anything else but your soul. Okay? I want you to go to Psalm 51. Psalm 51. Are you guys following? Do you hear what I'm saying? Yes. Is this making sense? Yes, actually. That's crazy. Psalm 51. And we're going to look at verses 16 and 17. Okay. If you haven't been paying attention or focusing up until this point, I don't care, because who cares what I say? We're going to read what the Bible has to say. And one thing personally I hate is when preachers preach, and I'm like, okay, where is that in the Bible? Does it say that in the Bible? So I want to show you that what I'm saying is literally in the Bible, okay? So Psalm 51, we're going to look at verse 16. That's where we're going to start. It says, this is David. David was not the best guy. You guys probably heard this if you went to Sunday school. Not this David. This David is amazing. David in the Bible cheated on his wife as king. Cheated on his wife with another woman who was married, and then killed her husband because he wanted to marry this other lady. Okay? Not a good guy. Do you know what the Bible calls him? A man after God's own heart. A man after God's own heart. So a man whose works do not align at all with what the Lord might what you think the Lord might want from us is named the man after God's own heart. And I believe it's because he sat at the feet of the Father and saw his face and knew him. Okay? So this is what David writes. And we know he's being honest because he's lived this. He says, you, as in God, do not delight in sacrifice, or I would bring it. You do not take pleasure in burnt offerings. My sacrifice, O God, is a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. You, God, will not despise. I'm going to read that again because I feel like some of us aren't. Like I want it to click. You, God, do not delight in sacrifice. Does that blow anyone's mind? Does that blow anyone's mind? It blew my mind. I grew up in a school where if our shorts were too short, it was like, you're not a good Christian, by the way. Okay? I grew up in a space where if I talked too loud, I was like, oh my gosh, she can't be Christian because Christian women are supposed to be like meek and mild. Okay? That's the space I grew up in. So when I heard you do not delight in sacrifice, I thought that's what we were supposed to do. You do not delight in sacrifice, or I would bring it. You do not take pleasure in burnt offerings. My sacrifice, oh God, is a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. You, God, will not despise. So David is saying, the things we think we should give you, and hear me when I say, you will get to a point in your walk with God where he will ask you to give you those things. So don't think this is a get out of jail free card. But what this is saying is the Lord, when you give those things to the Lord first, you say, Lord, I can give you my Snapchat. I can give you my time to be on a worship team. He says, that's great. Thanks. But I don't really want that right now. I want your heart. I want your spirit. I want to know who you are. And I want you to get to know who I am. Okay? So if you have not taken the time, and we're going to take the time in a little bit, to just sit in front of the Lord and not offer him anything but your spirit, you would be amazed at the way he meets you when you just offer him your spirit. Okay? What is your spirit? That's like Christian jargon. When you know someone's spirit, you know them intimately. You know them better than anybody else knows them, okay? My best friend, I feel like I know her spirit. I know what makes her mad. I know what makes her frustrated. I know what makes her happy. I know what makes her sad. I know her favorite food, her favorite color, her job, her past, her testimony, all these things, because I know her spirit. So what David is saying here is, you don't delight in the sacrifices, or you don't delight in these burnt offerings, okay? You delight in knowing me. You delight in getting to know who I am. And me sitting at your feet like Mary did, okay? So if that's not enough evidence for you, for Jesus literally in red words, which means he said it, to say, Mary has done the better thing and it will not be taken from her. And now for David, who has lived this testimony, to say, you do not delight in sacrifice, you delight in my spirit. If that has not gotten to you yet, then you have a wall up, okay? And you're like not wanting to hear it. Because honestly, I think sometimes it's easier to give the Lord a sacrifice than it is to give him ourselves, okay? Because we're saying, yeah, I'll give you this little piece of me, okay? I'll give you this little thing, okay? And I'll stand up and I'll say, the Lord knows me so well, and I know him so well because I fast on Mondays. I fast on Mondays, guys, okay? I fast on Mondays, and so the Lord knows me really well, okay? And the Lord's saying, thank you. I want all of you. I want all of you. All the mess, all the things that you're scared to show me, the sin that you're like, whew, I would never tell anybody I ever did that. The Lord's like, yeah, I want that. Okay? The part of your personality that you're scared to show people because you were made fun of in the past, he's like, oh, I love that. I want that. Okay? The family trauma, the friend trauma, the whatever that you're like, don't look at that, Lord. That's a mess. I have to, like Martha, clean that up before I can allow you to sit at my table. He says, no, I want that. I want to see that. I want it doesn't say perfect and beautiful and put together spirit. What does it say? Broken and contrite. Broken. You know why he wants it broken? So he can put it back together. So he can say, all these things that you're worried about, all these things that you think you don't want to show me, I'm going to take every single one of those things and I'm going to reconcile it and I'm going to redeem it in a way that you cannot even imagine. Okay? He wants us to fall in love with him. He wants us to know him. I think there is a challenge tonight, okay? Like, this is a beautiful thing, okay, to think about the creator of the universe loving you, okay? When I was writing this sermon, when I was praying and thinking about it, I was reduced to tears many times because I was just like, Lord, I don't get it. I don't get why you love me. I literally do not understand why you love me. Because I have walked away from you time after time after time after time after time after time. I have hid my face from you. I have sinned. I have done all these things. I'm like, Lord, I don't get why you love me. He's like, you don't have to get why I love you. Just know that I do. Just know that I love you. Okay? And now, it's literally crazy. In this past week, like, I feel like the Lord has specifically prepared my heart for this moment of, like, I literally, guys, like, if I could make everyone feel this way, I literally would. Like, if I could zap you with my finger to make you all feel this way, I would do it in a heartbeat. I am so obsessed with the Lord. Like, I'm literally obsessed with him. I'm literally obsessed with him. Like, it's insane. It's insane. It's literally, like, I cannot even describe how obsessed I am with him. Okay? He picked me up. Like, hear me when I say this, because I feel like the Lord is really trying to speak to you about this. He picked me up from the miry place. He picked me up in my sin, in my shame. He picked me up, and he put me right next to him, and so he said, that is my daughter. That one is mine. I love that one, okay? He did that to every single one of you, okay? I'm obsessed with him because when I get emotional in my car on the way to work because I'm stressed and I'm like, Lord, I don't know. Like, just to give you testimony, I am working a full-time job. I coach. I do youth. I do young adults. I'm stressed. I'm busy. My parents sat me down and said, Grace, I haven't seen you happy in a long time. You haven't been happy in a long time. And I don't know what it is. But you are not the Grace that we knew a year ago. This was literally like a week and a half ago. Okay? So that goes to show you someone who you think is maybe really put together and really joyful and happy and like whatever is maybe not behind the scenes, like Martha, right? Like, I was sitting here like, I have this beautiful table, so everything's good. And the Lord's like sitting over here like, girl, you are messed up. You need to come sit right now. Like, you are messed up. I literally was like, I was unhappy. I was stressed. I was so excited to move out of my parents' house. I'm 22, y'all. Okay, like, I'm ready for that to happen. I was going to move out. My apartment, it fell through. And I literally was like, And I felt this, like, Lord, what do you mean? I'm serving in youth ministry. I am leading a young adults group that was non-existent a month ago. I am doing a job that is hard. I am coaching. I am trying to keep all of my personal relationships intact. I'm trying to please my parents. I'm doing all of these things, and I feel like I'm doing them well, but my apartment fell through. Like, that's what you give me? Okay, I prepared a table for you, and you give me that? You give me another year of having to live at home. You give me all my friends. I'm being very vulnerable right now, so you should be lucky. You should be happy. You give me all my friends getting married and moving out and moving on with their life, and I'm doing this? The heck? And the Lord, you know what's funny? The Lord didn't say, oh, okay, here's all the things you want. You should have just asked. You should have just told me. He said, Grace, okay, I see you. I want you to fall in love with me. I want you to know that I'm the only thing that's going to fulfill you. So through this past week, I've been sitting with the Lord, and I've been saying, okay, Lord, like, I don't get it. My life is like not really what I thought it was going to look like right now, and I'm stressed, and I feel like I've done all these things for you, and I feel like you're not showing up, and I don't really know why. And I decided to move from the table I felt like I prepared for the Lord, to walk across the way, and to sit at the table he prepared for me. And guys, immediately, joy, peace, love, like literally like an obsession with the Father that I have never felt in my life before has washed over me. okay? Katie can attest, I've literally been walking around the house singing a song that goes, I'm obsessed, my heart is beating, literally beating out my chest, I'm obsessed. And I'm singing it because I'm like, Lord, oh my gosh, I'm just obsessed with you. I just love you so much. Katie, isn't that true? Yes, okay? And I'm sharing this testimony because, guys, I lived years, not even years, I lived my whole life trying to prepare a table for the Lord that was never going to work because he doesn't look for sacrifice. He looks for a broken and contrite spirit. Okay? Are you guys hearing what I'm saying? Because the Lord I feel like he's like, I love these teens. I love the zeal they have for me. I love the commitment they show. But I want them. I want them individually. I don't want them as a revival. I don't want them as Upward Conference. And those are beautiful, amazing things. Beautiful things. And the Lord is so happy that we and that Pastor Steve and Pastor Kenzie are willing to put the time and the effort into those things. But I believe that the Lord also wants each and every one of us individually to fall in love with him. Okay? You could be doing so many things, and he'll say, thank you, but I want you. Okay? We need to fall in love with the Lord. And I want to show you what it says later in Psalms. Okay, so if you go down, he says, you don't delight in sacrifice, you want my pure and contrite spirit. And then it says, may it please you to prosper Zion, to build up the walls of Jerusalem. Then you will delight in the sacrifices of the righteous. In burnt offerings offered whole, then bowls will be offered at your altar. Okay? The sacrifices will come. Okay? Your walk with the Lord it's a narrow path. Okay? I would be lying if I said it's super easy. And you just get to kind of coast and walk along and do what you want and then la. No, it's a narrow path. Sacrifices will come. The Lord will ask you to give up things that are really hard to give up, like Pastor Stephen preached about. He will ask you to give up something that feels like your one and only son that the Lord promised you. That's going to happen. But if your desire is not first and foremost him and to love him, when he asks you to give up those things, you will turn your face from him so quick. And when you leave youth group and you go to college or you go into a trade or you move away or get married or whatever the case may be, if you do not fall in love with the Lord and now you are being hit with things that require you to love the Lord, the foundation is weak and you will question the Lord so quickly and you will become like Martha. You will be bitter, upset. You will be blaming the Lord, blaming other people. Okay? So, tonight, the Lord wants you to fall in love with him. He wants you to sit with him